Yo, I'm Victor Gabriel. I am a marriage and family therapist, and I also am a writer-director.
My name is Mia Pearson. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist.
Let's talk
about it.
Mia, it's been a long time, Mia.
I know.
So both of us are therapists.
Yep.
So I'm wondering, both of us are black therapists.
Mm-hmm.
How's it feel for you these days being a black woman, female therapist?
Now we are way more desired. It was always there, but I think COVID truly highlighted it because people were forced to stay in situations where they typically would use maybe work, school, church to leave certain situations, and now you're there. And if I identify as someone who is black or brown and need that therapist, now it's the pull of everybody needs it. It's like, it's a lot.
Being a black male therapist, typically it's out. Whenever I walk in, it's always like, you're a therapist? People are typically either intimidated or scared. They don't know how to take me. And yeah, that's weird. At the same time, I hear the same thing about we need a lot more black male therapists.
So I'm curious.
Yeah.
You said that sometimes folks may be even intimidated by your
top.
stature.
Off top. It's worked a lot with kids, giving them like a lot of containment. They get like a lot of love. Maybe they haven't heard from like another male figure, a lot of affection, and also the limits and the boundaries are still there. So that helps a lot.
What are some things that you notice have shifted within the population we work with? Because, kids are our jam. We work with that middle school, high school, young adult. What have you seen that's changed?
I've done both, like obviously like my kids in the hood, Compton, Watson, South Central. But I've also worked with kids like affluent, basically rich white kids, you know. The whole TikTok and media thing has been a big thing. So it feels like everyone has a lot more, quote unquote, knowledge, like a civilian understanding of topics. I've never heard kids talk about narcissism, codependency, gaslighting, being triggered ever in life. Those are not things I even knew myself.
I call them the TikTok therapists. They have done a good job with highlighting those things, but also I always caution, make sure you're going to the source and like really doing your
Go to
work
an actual
with
therapist,
someone.
bro. If you don't stop listening to these TikTok therapists, man.
Think about it.
That's
I'm
fair.
asking you to come and sit in a room with me as a total stranger and tell me all the tea.
Why do you think that they're running to social media for?
It's free.
Okay.
It's easily accessible. I can
Right.
access it at any time. Maybe can't call my therapist. Like you said, we need to have more people in therapy that look like us. Like you said, people are shocked when you knock on the door and you're like, you're the therapist? Or when they see me, tattoos, piercings, braids, they're like, oh, this is my therapist? Yeah, what you thought? No, I don't have no couch for you to lay on.
Right.
No, I'm not taking notes. Like, we just have a conversation. Like, what's going on? I got Jesus too. What do you say to people like that? They'd be like, oh, I don't need therapy. I got Jesus.
I understand in some ways because therapy was also historically racist. We can't have that access to that, so we don't need that. I think church has been a place where people can actually work out a lot of their trauma. For
you will go to a doctor and you will say, God, please give the doctor the power to...
That's good. I like that. I like that. That's good.
To heal me or to provide me with the medication. We don't do the same thing with therapy. It's not a what happens in this house stays in this house when it's medical. When it's Big Mama who got diabetes and who lost her leg, and we don't want to end up like that. But when it comes to the things that go on mental health wise or physically abuse or emotional abuse, no, what happens in this house stays in this house. Why?
I was doing therapy for like $20. Go to school counselor, they'll refer you for services. Most of your parents or people have like Medi-Cal. You can get therapy easy peasy.
Even in the church. Some churches do have counseling centers. It's still therapy.
Listen, you got enough information to find it, to go find TikTok and to go find such and such. You can find your therapist for cheap.
You have to be upfront and honest with your parents about what it is that you need. There are going to be times where your parents do not agree with a lot of things that you do, but if you know that this is something that I need for me, for my mental health, you have to be comfortable with taking that stand and saying, hey, mom, dad, this is something I need help with.
If you tell your school counselor I need therapy and you say you don't really want to tell your family about it, most therapists will make adjustments.
If you are not able to talk to your parents, I would hope that there is at least one positive, supportive adult that you can have this conversation with and they can help you navigate. Because you're right. Sometimes parents are like, absolutely not. And you're not using my insurance for it because I don't believe in that. We don't do that in this family. Whatever the case may be. If we could find that one supportive adult that can help guide them, I think they will be able to find what it is that they need.
I hate to say this, it sounds weird, but like ADLs, like functioning.
Oh yeah, activities of daily
like
living.
functioning. Like
Absolutely.
ADLs are always like, to me,
Yeah.
one of the biggest but might more embarrassing indicators that a person is really struggling. If they can't brush teeth, take a shower, etc., I'm like, oh, this person is struggling.
If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed a lot of the time, right? A lot of things just seem to overwhelm you. Like there's so much going on in your mind. Like it's just too much. Like I'm stressed. I can't figure out what to do first. Like I don't know how to prioritize. If there is that family member that you're very adamant about not wanting a relationship with, if you're noticing that maybe you're a little bit more irritable than your usual, right? Like everybody and everything gets on your nerves, right? These are all little subtle things that maybe you need to kind of talk with someone, right? I journal every single day. I don't want to use the word magical, but it is something just very releasing about having these thoughts and I'm just writing. I mean, just literally getting it all out. Journaling, I think, is something that is absolutely amazing. Of course, working out, right? We know that kind of releases those endorphins, which helps, gives you energy and things like that. If you were to squeeze your fist extremely tight, there would come a moment where you're like, I need to let go. For me, journaling is that holding tight and letting it go.
Journaling for me is a great way to let my mind wander freely.
Some therapists are actually faith-based therapists,
yes.
right? So they have no problem with putting that out there. Some may not be of your faith. However, they know how to use your faith because they're culturally competent to help you with identifying, coping, and things that you need to do in order to utilize your religion through this journey. Interview your therapist the same way they are seeing if you are a good fit. Ask those questions off top. The first thing, obviously, is what's your modality? Because if I'm someone that is not trying to go back to childhood and process all this, I want to talk about the here and now, I may not want somebody who does what we call psychodynamic.
And also, what populations do they typically work with?
What's their major population?
And what is demographic do they typically work with?
Are they comfortable with sharing if they are comfortable doing faith-based work?
Let's talk about it.